Hi guys, in this video I'm going to be talking about the most commonly asked questions of them all. How many units will I need? Okay, so there are three factors that affect how many units you're going to need. First, and most importantly, is the muscle strength. How strong your muscle is going to determine how many units you need. Now, a lot of people think that, oh, I'm not that wrinkly, I'm not gonna need as many units, or I'm super wrinkly, I'm gonna need so many units, but that's not the case. How wrinkly you are has nothing to do with how many units you're going to need. It's all about the muscle strength because it is the muscle that is creating the wrinkle. Number two would be the area that is injected. So our facial muscles are all different. They are all different bulkiness. So for example, the frown requires more units than the forehead, which is a little bit counterintuitive because a lot of people think my forehead is so large compared to my frown. But the truth is that the frown is made up of many small bulky muscles. They're thick and they're gonna require more toxin to relax them versus the forehead, which is, and you can feel it, like it's a very thin muscle. It's up against the bone. It's very thin, doesn't require much to relax it. And our muscles pull in different directions. So our forehead muscle pulls up. So even if you just do one single row, it has the ability to cover the full forehead. And now, third and least importantly is your aesthetic goal. I'm not saying that your aesthetic goal is not important, but there's a little bit the difference between, having movement and the difference between being completely frozen is usually just a couple units. It's only a couple units that's gonna make that difference for you. So for example, if you put 20 units in a frown, it's gonna give a really natural look in someone. But then if you add just an extra 5 units, that might completely freeze them out. And then another thing I wanted to mention is if you're one of those people that really wants a supernatural look, wants to be super conservative about it, is kind of nervous, just keep in mind that your Botox dosage and longevity kind of go hand in hand. So if you dose too low, if you're going to your professional and telling them, no, I don't want your recommended dose, I want to go lower, just know that your Botox might not hit that 3 to 4 month mark, which is okay if that's what you want to do, but just something to keep in mind. There's a reason why we typically don't want to go lower than a certain dose based on your muscle activity. Okay, so here is a face chart example of how many units you may need in each area. This is an average. Keep in mind that you may go over it or below it depending on how strong your muscles are. And another thing with muscle strength is that men typically require 1.5 to 2 times more units than women because their muscles are much bulkier and stronger than women, so they require more toxin to relax it. And then the last thing I wanted to touch on is keep in mind that if you go from provider to provider, your experience with, let's say, 30 units with one provider and 30 units with another might be very different. And that's because injection technique comes into play. And another thing that clients typically don't know about is Botox dilution and Dysport dilution. So basically when a clinic or office or whatever receives Botox and Dysport, it's in a powder form. And then the provider mixes in water to get it to the concentration that they want. Now, obviously the manufacturers have recommendation, but a lot of providers kind of put their own spin on it. So 30 units with one provider and 30 units with another provider might look very differently. And that's when you can decide whose injection style and everything else you prefer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I answer all questions and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.